not those of WSRF 1580 AM, their staff, or management, but are strictly those of the hosts, guests, and callers.
Everyone, welcome to Source of Information, the only place where you could get information regarding Medicare, Medicaid, food stamp, low-income subsidy, and a lot more. Today, we have a special guest. It was so good for her last week. She asked to come back. We're talking about Suze Desormes. And today, the topic is Medicare 101. Now, this is for every single one of you guys that's, whether you're going to be eligible for Medicare in a year or two, well, this is your chance to get the information that you need so that when that time comes, you are armed with information so you know exactly what to do. Suze, good afternoon. Welcome to Source of Information.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm happy to be back.
You taste something good, and you won't be able to have enough.
You're right.
So, and you're doing a good thing because you know what you've learned throughout the years in being in that type of business. Now you're going to be able to share those knowledge with everyone that's listening. So that's a good thing. Let's start by
Exactly.
let's talk about what is Medicare and how do we benefit from it?
Okay, so Medicare basically is the U.S. government largest health insurance program, and it's directed by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And you basically benefit from this coverage by working in the United States for a certain amount of years. And when you turn age to where you can receive Medicare, then you'll be eligible for it. So most seniors who are the age is at 65 for most seniors, or if you on disability, or for those who also have end-stage renal disease are eligible at whatever age that you are.
That's good. That's good. Now, I take offense to the word seniors for 65. Because we find that some of us that's getting close, and I'm being honest, some of us that's getting close to that age, we are in better health than our parents when we got to that stage. Maybe because the way they were working in factories and cold temperatures in New York. So the way they eat, they didn't do too much exercise. But we won't get too much about that. But we find out the seniors now, the so-called seniors now, they're going to live much longer. So tell me, you mentioned about they have to work. I believe they have to work 10 years to be eligible for Medicare. Before coming down here, we were having a conversation, right? Remember that conversation about whether Medicare is free or not?
We did, yeah.
So let's elaborate on that. Do you think Medicare is free after the conversation we had?
Technically, no, it is not.
Elaborate for me.
Basically, as you work in the United States, you do pay towards, your paycheck that you get paid. They take the part, if you look on your paycheck stubs, it has where they take their Medicare portion out. So technically you are paying for it, and then when you turn of age, part of it is given to you because it's, you paid towards it, which is the Part A.
Right. And go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And Part B, that one you would continue paying for that.
Yeah, the Part B is when you start receiving benefits, then that's the one that you're paying for they take that straight out of your Social Security check, right?
Correct.
So Part B right now, how much is it? Because personally, I've been getting it wrong from time to time.
It's $174.70.
Okay, so $174.70 that comes directly from your Social Security check. Now, what can we do to prevent them from taking that amount for certain people?
Yes, certain people, they're eligible for what you call Medicaid, which is a Medicare savings program, where a lot of the seniors, they probably not even aware of that they could apply for that. And what it does is help pay for that Part B premium and also allow them to get into a plan that gives them more coverage as well.
Okay. We're going to get into the plan to get more coverage in a little bit. But they could apply for Medicaid to help them cover the Part B premium. What besides that, in terms of Medicare? No. Let me pose this question another way. Medicare basically covers you for everything or not?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Medicare, there's two parts that you receive of Medicare. There's Part A, which is the hospital part.
Mm-hmm.
It covers the hospital stay, skilled nursing facility, stay, hospice care, and so forth. However, although it covers that, you still are responsible for out-of-pocket expense. And the Part B, which is the medical part of your Medicare, it covers doctor's visit, outpatient care, preventative services, occupational and physical therapy. And even when it says it covers it, it doesn't mean that it covers it at 100%. So for those who just have the original red, white, and blue card only and going to their doctors without having extra coverage, they are responsible for out-of-pocket expense.
And how much is the out-of-pocket expense?
For example, if it's the Part B, they see in doctors, they are responsible for a deductible in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And once that deductible is met, they have to pay 20% of their hospital costs. Medical costs.
Now, I know what a deductible is. Can you explain to everyone that's listening, or anyone that's listening for the first time, what a deductible is?
A deductible is basically an amount that you have to pay up front out of your pocket
mm-hmm.
before the plan takes over. Before the plan covers anything.
Okay. So what is the deductible for Medicare right now?
That is a very good question.
I know at one time it was $1,125, something like that.
Well, there's two deductibles. There's Part A deductible and there's Part B deductible.
Okay, so the Part A is probably $1,125. As we're talking, I'll get that information for you guys. But do you know the deductible for Part B?
It's currently at $240.
So $240. So that's mean that your doctor's visit, you have to pay $240 before you could have your visit to the doctor where you're not paying anything, right?
That is correct. So once you go to the doctor, your first visit with just the original Medicare, you're responsible for the first $240, which is your deductible. Then after that is met, then you will be paying 20%.
Okay. Okay. Now the deductible. Let me put on my glasses to give you that information. Actually, okay.
I got the Part A deductible.
Yeah. How much is the Part A deductible?
$1,632.
Oh, I got it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, the number that I gave you guys probably for several years ago, and so it has gone up, 1,625. Probably because for us, the population that we serve, we basically make sure that they don't have deductible, they don't have any copayment. We make sure that, and we're going to get into that a little bit. Actually, you did get into it. how do we avoid our listeners, our patients, our client avoid paying the deductible?
Great question. Yeah, that's pretty much the way to avoid that is by enrolling in the Part C plans or Medicare Advantage plans.
Okay, we heard about a lot of people that's been well, you know, if you're watching TV, whether you on whatever channel you may be on, you know, from time to time you see a celebrity that comes in and asking you if you've enrolled in Part C. So, or do you have Part C? So, do everybody that has Medicare have Part C?
No, they have to enroll in it on their own.
Okay, but Medicare gives you the ability to enroll because if you don't have Part C Medicare, then you won't be able to enroll in Medicare Advantage, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you need Part A and Part B and Part C. Actually, to enroll in Part C, you need Part A and Part B, correct?
Correct, because the Part C are the Medicare Advantage.
Exactly. So what is the process to enroll in first of all, the Medicare Advantage plan, that's going to cover the deductible for you, right?
Right. So that would be the best thing for the Medicare recipients to do because when they do pick up the Part C, which is the Medicare Advantage plan, it will cover those deductibles where they don't have to pay anything. The hospital deductible, which is $1,632, the medical deductible, which is $240, that they'll save that, once they enroll in this plan.
Okay. So besides saving them, we're going to get into the Part C. Besides saving them the deductible for Part A and Part B, what else does the Medicare Advantage plan help them with? Because if I understand correctly, there's certain benefits that that Medicare doesn't cover that the Part C covers, right? Or
Correct.
the Medicare Advantage plan cover.
That is correct. Yeah, because the Medicare A and B only covers hospital and medical only.
Okay.
The advantage of having the Part C Medicare Advantage plan, it provides the Medicare recipient additional services, such as dental, vision, also, for example, podiatry, services that's not covered, certain services that are not covered under Medicare.
So podiatry does not cover, Medicare does not cover podiatry?
They do cover Medicare covered podiatry, but routine podiatry is not a Medicare covered service. So if there's routine podiatry, that would be the additional service that the plan provides.
And what would you consider a routine podiatry?
Cutting the toenail, like anything opposite of seeing the podiatrist.
Okay. So something that for example, if he has to go in and do a procedure, a surgery, Medicare covers that, but on a routine, whether it's every once a month, like for once a month, to come in and for the podiatrist to cut your nail, Medicare does not cover that.
Correct. Then it would have to be a routine. If it's a routine service, the plan will give that coverage.
Besides that, what else the plan covers that Medicare does not cover?
There's the membership to the fitness program, which is the silver sneakers, dental, vision, and certain people are eligible for, food to purchase at, grocery stores and so forth.
So there's a lot of benefit why you shouldn't stay with your Medicare, because Medicare covers 80%, and the other 20% you end up responsible for it, and that includes the deductible and the copayment, all that. So I guess my point is, just like I've been advising everyone, it's very important to enroll in the Medicare Advantage plan. So when is the time for you to enroll in the Medicare Advantage plan?
There's different time frame. So typically, when you turn 65, you eligible. You have a 7-month window to enroll, which would be the 3 months prior of you turning 65, the month within your 65th birthday, and 3 months after. So that's the typical time to get to enroll in the plan. However, there are other special enrollment periods, right? You have where the annual enrollment period, for those who already have a plan, October 15 through December 7, that's the time for anyone who have a plan or didn't have a plan or needs a new plan and so forth to pick a plan. And it will start the 1st of January the following year.
Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And there's other type of enrollment period, which is OEP, open enrollment period, that runs from January 1st to March 31st. For those who already enrolled in the plan, Medicare Advantage plan, and wants to make a switch, one last time to make a switch, you could do so during that time frame. And if you have moved out of your service area, meaning that you move from one county to another, you change zip code, you do qualify for special enrollment to change your plan as well. There's people that have special needs that, for example, if you're diabetic, you have chronic heart issue, you have Medicare, Medicaid, you do have a special enrollment period.
Okay. Now, we often talk about a penalty for individuals who do not enroll on time for Medicare. Let's talk about that.
Right. So as far as the Medicare Advantage or Medicare itself?
Anybody who does not enroll in Medicare. Sorry.
Correct. So if you have a time frame to enroll in your Part A and Part B. Those who do not enroll at the time that they are advised to enroll, there is a penalty that applies, and that happens to several people. They're not aware that they're supposed to enroll in Medicare, and they wait till a year or two when they find out, and if they go to Social Security and apply, they inform them that they have to pay a late enrollment penalty.
Well, it's more than that, because isn't it a lifetime penalty that you have to pay? They will actually withdraw from your Social Security 10% every month for the rest of your life, isn't it?
That is correct. And not only that, they're going to have another penalty for their prescription.
Let's talk. Yeah, talk to me about that.
Part D, yes. So typically when you have Part A and Part B, it's advised that you also enroll in a Part D prescription plan. You could enroll in your prescription plan through the Part C altogether or get a prescription plan by itself. And it is advised that you have to enroll in one, just in case if something happens that you need your medication, at least you will have that coverage to pick up your medications. Even if you're not taking any medications at the time that you turn 65, some people, they're saying that they don't take any drugs or anything like that. But later on in the year, later on, if you end up having to take medications, let's say if you never had a prescription plan, and 5 years later, your doctor says you have to take this medication, and you go and enroll in a prescription plan or a plan with medical and prescription coverage all included, you're going to have a 5-year penalty because you didn't pick up a prescription plan at 65. You waited till you're 70.
So
I'm
sorry. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
That is a lifetime penalty as well.
Okay. So as we've been telling you over the years, that 3 months before you turn 65, you get in contact with us. You could get in contact with me. You know my number, 954-667-4885. Now you have another person to get in contact with. You got Shoes to get in contact with, and her number is
754-236-4994.
now you're gonna say give it to him again.
754-236-4994.
Okay, you'll hear from her from time to time. She'll be continue to come back on air to give you that information about Medicare, and you guys will eventually memorize her number by heart. But we're going to continue with more information. So we talk about the fact that, yes, 3 months before you turn 65, you have to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan. Now, I know she said 3 months before and 3 months after. And my logic about ignoring the after, because one, you're going to say, well, I have time. And then before you know it, 3 months is gone. And now you fall in a position where you're going to be paying a lot of money for the rest of your life.
That is true.
Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you are getting $1,000 a month. And out of that 1,000, they take 10%, which is $100. Now you end up with $900 a month. And we have not taken into consideration the Part B premium. So if we put the Part B premium into consideration right now, which is $174.90, right? So they're going to take another $174.90 from you. You see how the money already, you're down about $300, or close to $400 from the $1,000. Now you're down to $600. If you do not have someone like me or Shoes that's under air, bringing you information and know what to do about it. Now, let's say, for example, something like that happens to somebody. Is there a remedy for it? Shoes?
Yes, I'm here.
So something like that happened where they have a late late penalty that they taken from, say, Social Security. Is there a remedy for that for the, I guess, the government or Medicare or Medicaid not to take that money from them?
That's if they're eligible for Medicaid. And again, those who have that situation, they can, if their income is a certain limit, they can apply for Medicaid.
Okay. So the limit right now for Medicaid, I believe for Q1 is $1,650. So even if they have Q1 of Medicaid, the Q1 will cover those co-payment for them?
The Part B premium.
Okay. So it'll cover the Part B premium, but it won't cover, Q1 won't cover, and we'll go into what Q1 is. It won't cover the late penalty that they have for Part A, in effect for not enrolling on time for Medicare, and also if they have a penalty for enrolling late for the Part D. So it will not cover that, right?
It should, because it should say the Part B. The late enrollment prescription plan, once they have Medicaid, they automatically qualify for extra help.
Right.
So it will cover that penalty.
Let's talk about before we move on to the next subject, which is the Part D. The question I was going to ask you is, yes. Let's talk a little bit about the low income subsidy. Mm-hmm. So we're automatically segueing into the Part D. So tell me a little bit about that. What is that plan?
The low income subsidy plan?
Right.
It's technically, it's technically not a plan. It's for those who have, again, it's almost like Medicaid. You have to have a certain level of income,
okay,
and you apply for that through Social Security, and it's called low income subsidy. extra help, and it's solely to help pay for your prescription drug costs, deductible, and premiums. So it lowers your copays on your medications. For those who doesn't qualify for Medicaid, but qualify for for the low income subsidy, their prescription drug costs, where they probably was paying $45 for a brand name medication, they'll pay way less than that if they qualify for the extra help.
I believe there were a time it was $0 to $6 per medication, depending on the medication. How much is it now?
There's $1.55 to $4.60 for generic medications, and brand name is up to $11 or $13, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, I know all the patients that's in CAMEX Medical Center of Broward, they're not paying that because you have the support of our staff, our partners, that what we do is basically, there's a phone call. I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to return in a minute.
Sometimes you cried all through the night, through this pandemic, yes. You look for someone to help you through. They weren't there for you. And you tried, God knows you tried with all your might. Cried and cried and cried and cried, 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 and you prayed and cried and prayed and cried, prayed, cried, prayed, cried. And you've done all you can.
All right, we are back. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. We had to take a quick break. Yes, we were talking about low-income subsidy and how you could benefit from it. It covers your prescription drug. You know, and that's one of the great things. I think earlier I was telling you about when they first came out with low-income subsidy, which is something that came under President Bush, the son. And I remember at the time when all of a sudden it seemed like there's people that was having a difficult times for paying their prescription drug, and all of a sudden it was like heaven had opened up, and now allow these people to be able to afford medication. Do you remember those times, Suze?
I remember.
Okay. So what are your experience during that time?
I had just started.
Perfect time.
So there was a lot of, enrollment at that time. So it was it was best for everyone to get into the plan because that's how they were getting their help.
Yeah, I remember there was one patient that we had, and he was able to get his insulin for himself and his wife because of the low income subsidy. And sometimes, we would if the low income subsidy expired. By the way, the low income subsidy, you have to renew it every year, right? Suze?
Yeah, it looks like it has to be renewed every year. And if their income changes as well, it has to be renewed. And one other thing with the low income subsidy, the benefit of it is that for the coverage gap, right? There's no coverage gap for those who have low income subsidy, meaning that they're still gonna pay their regular copay for their medication that are expensive throughout the year. You know, some people who does not have Medicaid or low income subsidy that are taking medication that are costly, at a certain point in the year, they get to a point where they have to pay a little bit more on their medications. And if no one is aware of that, that's when they get into what you call a coverage gap. So during that time, they have to pay a little bit more for their drugs until they pay a certain amount. Now, for those who get extra help, they do not have to pay the extra. They still continually paying their copay that they are responsible for. And for starting this year, for those who's on extra help on their medication, for generic, as I mentioned earlier, they pay $1.55 or $4.60 for generic. And for brand name medication, it's $4.50 or $11.20.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between brand name and generic?
You know better on that one than me.
Okay. Well,
when it comes to the clinic.
The clinic aspect of it, the brand name is the original medication they came out with. So when they came out with it, they spent 10 to 15 years to create that medication and to put it out in the market. Now, after a certain period of time, they allow that same company to produce that same drug with just a small variation. It could be, instead of putting 1 ounce of water, they'll put 3/4 ounce of water in this particular medication. That's the only change they make. And now that medication, they're selling it less. So that's the main difference. And so you're getting, and I've had people that actually said, well, I'd rather the brand name because the brand name made me feel, I don't have any side effect with the brand name. Same medication. So if they just a small change, you're not going to have a side effect with the generic as well. So I think one of the main reasons it's a lot of people adopt the policy to subscribe generic is so that you don't end up in that coverage gap, as Susie was just talking to you guys about. Right?
Yes.
Because the amount of money that you're going to spend throughout the year with the generics, basically most generics is there's zero co-payment for generic, correct?
If they're on an Advantage plan, yes.
So everyone should be on an Advantage plan.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't know. Let's go back talking about the Medicare Advantage plan, because we discussed the good part about it, why you should be on a Medicare Advantage, because automatically you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, your prescription drug also included in there. I want you to talk more about that, because you don't have to go out and to go to the process of finding a prescription drug plan, which you don't know much about. The experience that when you call Medicare to enroll in a prescription drug plan, you got to give them all the medication that you're taking, and now you got to make a decision which plan. And if you don't know which one is to your benefit, so it's best you enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan. Give me the positive and the negative about Medicare Advantage plan.
it's more cost efficient because you get the savings from the Medicare Advantage
Okay.
than having a prescription plan by itself. So now, if you enroll in a prescription plan by itself, there will be a premium that attached to it. Whereas to the Advantage plan, there isn't any premium. And not only that, the prescription plan has co-pays. When you get into the Advantage plan, depending on the medication, there won't be co-pays for, like generic medication. So you have more advantage on the all-in-one plan, such as the Medicare Advantage versus a Part D alone.
Yes. So there's no copay for the Medicare Advantage plan and everything. I like the term you just used, all-in-one, as opposed to ending up with a prescription drug plan that you may have a copay with.
That is correct.
What are the negatives?
There isn't any. I mean, every plan's work for each person's needs. There's different type of plans. So I don't see there's a negative in that, because if there were, I wouldn't put my mom in one.
Right. But if you don't mind me disagreeing with you there just a little bit, in everything there's a negative. So I think one of the things that people may find it to be a negative, if they travel to another state and they get sick, they can't go to any doctors, right?
Well, that's the reason why I said there's different plans for each person's needs.
Right.
It's not only HMO as a Medicare Advantage, they're also PPO. So that's why I answer your question that way.
Okay. Now, if we get into the PPO, we'll get into the PPO, because that's a good point that you bring, because even the PPO have some positive and negative about it too. But for me, what I see the disadvantage in Medicare Advantage plan is that you have to be within the network.
That is one of the right. That is true.
So everyone have to understand that, because if they don't understand that, they feel that, well, they could jump from here to there to there to there, and that's where you end up spending money out of your pocket. So let's discuss that. So educate our public about that, so they know that once they join a plan, it's an HMO plan, they have to remain within the network. Let's discuss more about that.
Correct. So since the plan is an HMO, you have to select a primary care doctor that will coordinate your care. So meaning that you have to stay within the network of the plan. So once you select your primary will refer you to your specialist if in need. And you do have coverage, however, if you're out of the state or the country for emergency. You won't be able to see call a doctor to set up an appointment, but you'll be able to go to the emergency with your plan.
Exactly. Now we don't suggest that you go to a hospital emergency room, because there's an alternative which is cheaper, and you're getting the same type of treatment that you would be getting from the hospital, which is an urgent care.
Urgent care, correct.
Talk to me about urgent cares.
You can also go to an urgent care in your co-pays, of course. If you go to an urgent care versus you save more because you have less space.
Now, when you go in most urgent care, when you go when you have a plan, are they going? Most of the plans is there a co-payment for urgent care?
Most of the plan have, yes. There's a co-pay for urgent care. Some of the plans.
Okay, even if you're on special need.
No. Well, depending on the special need. If it's dual Medicare, Medicaid. No.
Right. So a special need doesn't have a co-payment for urgent care. Okay. See, you're the expert in the plan, so I have to ask you these questions. So your visit to the urgent care is not going to cost $6,000. If first of all, they're not going to keep you with the urgent care. If it's not something that's warrant for you to go to the hospital, they're going to send you home, and you go, when you get home, you could go back to your primary care and they'll do the follow-up. However, when you go to the hospital, for every visit that you make to the hospital, within the first couple of hours that you're there, it's $6,000. And that is if they don't keep you. If they keep you, you're looking at about $12,000 per day, $6,000 to $12,000 per day, depending. Because if you're in the ICU, then it's extremely more expensive than that. Today I'm doing a lot of talking, and Susie, you're doing less talking, so we got to get you involved. So, as a whole, we are recommending that you join a Medicare Advantage plan. And Susie, last week we talked about the different Medicare Advantage plan, and you have some that have 5 stars, some that have 4.5, some 4. Tell us what's the advantage of, we're not going to talk about the mediocre plan, but the one that's offering you, the one that has 5 stars right now. Tell me the advantage of joining one of those plans.
The advantage of that, the reason why the plan is a 5-star is because they rated 5-star. Based on the questions that Medicare asked in reference to the plan, the consumer, or are saying that the plan is a great plan. So they rate, each person rate the plan, and then once they rate the plan at 100%, so that plan become a 5-star. And that once that plan become a 5-star, you could change to that plan anytime throughout the year. You have a one special enrollment period for someone who have 4.5, 3-star plan to change to a 5-star plan during the year.
So, which means that if the plan is receiving 5-star, that's mean that the clinic itself, because it's a domino effect. If the clinic is providing terrible services, well, the plan won't get good response. Correct?
That is correct.
So, right now, at KMX Medical Center of Broward, Plantation in particular, we have 2 of the plan that we use at the office to have 5 stars. So that says a lot for that particular center. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. Today we forgot to actually include you guys in the conversation, just providing conversation with you. So I welcome you guys in the next 9 minutes to call right now, 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. Let's hear from you guys regarding this topic, especially those of you who are about to turn 65. The baby boomers, this is your time now. And we don't want you, like the Bible says, my people are perished because of lack of knowledge. One of the things that we do on this show is provide you the knowledge so that you don't perish. Right, Susie?
Right, that is true.
So we are bringing the right type of people that with the right knowledge to make sure that you have the information. So call now, 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. Sometimes you tell me the New York on me comes out because I speak too fast. So we're going to slow it down. 305-945-1580, 305-945-1580. We basically, let me ask you that question. Have we covered everything about Medicare 101?
There's more to cover, but, we cover the most part.
Okay, give me a little bit on the more that we didn't cover, because we have another probably 6 minutes.
Okay.
Well, maybe I should ask you a question. Here's a better question because I think a lot of people would be very concerned about that. Now, there's a coverage for if you go out of the country and you end up in an emergency. I know certain plan covers up to $50,000. Talk to me about that.
Okay, so yes, that is correct. If you go out of the country, of course, the plan doesn't cover you from right away. You most likely going to come out of pocket for that particular service, and then once you get back, you submit your claim. Although it depends. You submit your claim, you find out how much the plan would pay if you're out of the country and so forth. Now, the plan will pay the allowable amount.
What's the allowable amount?
It all depends on what the plan determines. It's going to determine by. So I have that information on top of my head, but it's really going to determine on what the plan feel like it's that particular service should be. So that's what they're going to reimburse you.
Oh, okay. So now, also, I know that they're going to require receipts from the emergency room where you were out of the country, and once you have to pay out of pocket for that service, and you bring that amount to them, you submit it to the insurance company, and then they will write you a check for the amount, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's
now.
Yes, go ahead.
The amount paid, it may be less, but it's going to be the allowable amount what they feel like that particular service should be.
Now,
so keep that in mind.
Okay, the allowable amount, and when you said allowable amount, what comes to mind is that Medicare allowable amount is 80%.
No, it's not going to be determined on that. It's going to determine on the outside allowable amount.
So Medicare has a separate amount for outside allowable amount, as we put it. Okay, well, that's those are some key point that we need to know because they don't break it down. You see, when it comes down to healthcare, there's always a fine print. So it's good that we know that part. And the rest of the time that we have, let's talk about the meal card because I'm sure a lot of people are interested about the meal card that they are getting. Last week we got a lot of question about that. We didn't want to devote too much time to it today. But the meal card, is everyone getting the meal card? What's the story?
No, not everyone. Each plans are there for each person's needs. So if you're not one who have both Medicare and Medicaid, you still could get the food card. It won't be the same amount as someone who has Medicare. So each plans are different. Okay, so a lot of people talk about the food card. That food card that gives you that amount, the excessive amount is for people that's on Medicare and Medicaid. Now, if they want to give us a call to find out if you're eligible for Medicaid, by all means, you could do so. I can pre-check to see if you're eligible or not, and I can help you with that as well.
Hold on 1 second. We have a call. Hello, you on the air.
Yes, hello. Hi, how are you, Gilbert?
Hi.
How are you, Miss Susanna? How you doing? I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Why is it that the co-payment goes higher each year? Can you tell me, please, why is it always going higher?
Co-payment on what?
Yes, someone who is getting Medicare. He's on Medicare. Who does not belong into a certain plan.
Co-payment on what service? Co-payment on doctor's visits? On which co-payment are you referring to?
Yeah, on the doctor's, on a primary doctor or their regular doctor.
Well, it depends. It all depends on what plan you have.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because a copay If you just have original Medicare, a copay is 20%. It doesn't go up or down. It's the doctor that's going to determine that, which what 20% is. But if you have a plan for doctor's visit, depending on the plan, there's some plans you don't have a copay at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Also,
people who are not in a plan. I understand. It's more people that are not in a plan. They usually raise their copayment. It's kind of high.
Well, also bear in mind for anybody that's not in a plan, remember that Medicare covers 80%. You're responsible for another 20%. So because of that, are they making adjustment on the fees? That could be it, but we're not certain about that. Remember, every year, if you're in a Medicare Advantage plan, there are changes that's going to be made by the plan. The plan every year have to submit a new plan, and sometimes there's certain differences, and sometimes there's not. So that could be it. We don't have a definite answer for you, but I'll definitely look into it, and we'll come back next week with more information regarding that. We're almost out of time. I thank you all. Thank you.
Yes, thank you too.
Thank you for calling in. And Suze, thank you very much for being part of the show. Again, my name is Gilbert Franklin. It was a pleasure for being here with you guys today. I love you guys. So see you soon. Bye-bye.